Oh, hell no.
Let's get started. Welcome to Hits and Hoops. What's going on, Chicho?
Wagwan.
Super Bowl Sunday, this past Sunday. What a game. It was a great
Banging.
weekend. We're going to talk about Super Bowl. We have a special guest. He is going to be our Jets insider, diehard Jets fan, Connor McGaffney. And then we're going to talk about the Jets for a little bit. 2023, 2024 review. Get a true diehard Jets fan perspective. And then we're going to look ahead into 2025 or 2024, 2025. For one personal topic we want to talk about from this past season. And then we'll get into the Fins. But first, how we doing today, fellas?
Excited to be here, man.
Chilling, man. It's
All right.
cold in Florida. That's why I'm wearing this beanie.
What's
Feel me?
what's
Shit, probably like 80.
Oh, okay. I kind of could have guessed that.
Beanie with a t-shirt and shorts type of vibe.
Before we begin, I just want to make sure everybody like, subscribe,
All that.
check into our socials.
Talk shit in the comments. Someone's in there from the account talking back. I don't know who it is, but shit goes down in the comments.
All right, let's get into it. Super Bowl. Chiefs 25-22. In overtime. Niners took the L.
Disgusting.
This game was fantastic. This was a great game. This was a fantastic game. Mahomes with his third MVP.
Goated.
This was like set. This was almost like, I hate to put this in the atmosphere, but scripted. This was you wanted to see Mahomes do it, and he did it, and it was incredible. In overtime, game-winning touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not sounding like you like this at all.
No, it was one of the saddest days in American history.
No,
honestly.
This was a great Super Bowl. This was a great game. This was a clash of titans,
it was
bro.
Ass.
No. All right, let's hear your rebuttal, man. Go ahead.
I think that game was like the ultimate, like, final, like, I officially sold my soul from the NFL.
Oh no.
Like, the NFL lost all its integrity, lost all its American, lost everything you love about the game was out the window. But the actual game itself was phenomenal. My problem is everything around the game. You know what I'm saying? Everything not having to do with the game that was shown during the game.
But why are you paying attention so much to that, something you don't like? You're paying so much attention to it when the thing that you do like is right there.
Nah, in all realness, it was a great game. I mean, I was standing up straight for the past 2 hours. Like, I couldn't. Yeah. I damn near had high blood pressure. But it was a tale of two halves and then overtime. Like, you talking all this Mahomes talk, let's not act like he didn't look shook that first half.
Hell yeah.
Let's not act like that whole team. No, that whole team was shook.
I don't know if they were shook, but
you had Travis Kelce bum rushing a 65-year-old man. That seems shook to me. You had Mahomes throwing picks. He had pump fake 3 times on every drop back.
Oh, no, they had him, yeah. They game planned against him. Phenomenal. They were ready for everything.
Yeah, and I think what happened with the Niners is like what happened with the Ravens, and it seems to always happen. I think these teams just get into a panic mode versus Mahomes. They know they can't stop him, so they try to do something outside of themselves. They try to go extra. In the Ravens game, that was the #1 rushing team. They stopped running the ball. Right here, you got the offensive player of the year, and yeah, he got the ball, but he should have been dominating that game, not just on – handoffs, use him in the passing game. Kittle, what happened with Kittle? Nowhere to be
found. That one's an unexplained. Yeah, I mean, he did get hurt later in the game, but that was where was he? He was there, that big third down. But, I totally disagree with you. I think that the Niners played great. They forced turnovers. They moved the ball. They made them punt numerous times. And they just couldn't finish. It was like what we talked about in our preview last week. The advantage is Mahomes because he can do what he did last night. It's just what it is.
I feel like Andy Reid was a better performance than Mahomes. Like the
Okay.
script, the play calling, like
Yeah.
dudes were wide open.
Yeah.
I mean, he did have a few incredible passes, and the thing that's the most demoralizing is when he gets that first down with his legs. That shit just kills everything. Like, bro,
That was such a big factor, especially in this game. Those little long runs that he do, especially on third down.
I wanted to ask Connor, like, yo, how did you not waver? Like, even during the game, I was talking shit. How are you so confident that Mahomes, the Chiefs, were gonna get it done?
I mean, dude, they've just been there. They've been there so many times. And I know you talked about Kelsey and him. I think that's just him trying to get everybody else fired up. I don't think there was any disrespect. I don't think there was
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
behind it. It was just a let a spark. The dude had one catch for 1 yard. I
yeah,
mean, he had nothing going on. Like, couldn't have done worse.
yeah.
I think when you got a guy like Mahomes back there that's been there for, 3 times, he's got 3 rings now. He's got 3 MVPs. This is not just some guy. This isn't Mr. Irrelevant. This is a guy that knows. And to
True.
to sit back and not waver, that's his best attribute. He could throw the ball well, he could run the ball well, but him being confident, you see him on the bench in overtime, chilling, like nothing
Calm,
was going on, like it was
Yeah.
pregame. And I
calm.
think that's what sets him, guys like him, Brady, you can see the same thing,
Yeah,
quiet in the face of adversity, always, bro. And I think
yeah,
that's the biggest thing there. And you mentioned it, not they stopped running the ball, the Niners. You got the best player in the world on the offensive side of the ball,
yeah.
besides maybe Tyreek Hill, and you limit his touches. You give that dude 35 carries and just say,
That's what I'm saying. You
I know.
you you give him the Derrick Henry treatment.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
I mean he had 60 on the ground and 60 in the air. I mean, and a touchdown. His only fall was a fumble. I mean, if you know you're gonna get from your best guy at least a buck 60 and a touchdown, you would hope you'd have a little bit more help. I thought he did.
I think the
I thought
play
they
calling was like they ran it when they should have threw it, and they threw it when they should have ran it. Like it was obvious on that first down they were gonna run it. Chiefs knew it, they stopped it, and then it was obvious they're gonna throw it. But I was like, what if you throw it on first down and then run it on second and third? Like it was becoming a bit predictable. And what happened to this genius play calling of Mike Shanahan? Like I didn't see it in the second half. It was
really
just
I thought
empty
I don't
formation. It was just a handoff. I didn't see no screen. I didn't see no reverse. You seen the Chiefs when they knew there was a blitz coming, they threw a screen. That's basic Madden 101.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
every time the Chiefs blitz the Niners, you seen Brock Purdy get hit. He missed throws in the end zone. They weren't ready for that blitz when I knew it was coming. So I think it was a bit of that. I mean, I don't want to say it, but kind of like a panic by Mike Shanahan. Yeah. I mean, it has to
Wow.
be. I
See
mean, that defense played too great for y'all to like lose that game.
but they moved the ball. I mean, they had two big errors. I mean,
They moved the ball, but they don't got nothing to show for it. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
there's nothing. Yeah, their other guys didn't really contribute like they were all season. But I think Purdy played well. I thought he did. He did his
Hey,
thing.
I'm on board with Brock Purdy. Like, that's my boy. Like, we be chilling now. Like, we might go grab a bite to eat. That's my boy. Like, I
So
fuck
what
with
made you
Brock
flip?
Purdy.
What made you change your mind?
This was the moment for him to actually crumble. Like what I was waiting for to actually happen. Like, all right, he didn't crumble, divisional round. He didn't crumble AFC championship. I'm like, okay, this is the game. This is the game. And he didn't do it. And not just that, his composure off the field, whether that's a press conference, whether that's that goofy ass WWE thing they were doing before the Super Bowl, always the same, always like composed for a guy that's never been there. I thought he showed like great composure. That's like one thing I really liked about him. Well, what about you, Connor? What's up? You ain't on the Purdy train?
I had to let you finish, man. I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
you can
gotta know
sit
this.
there. I don't know how you can sit there and tell me Brock Purdy had a great, a good game. The man didn't force the ball down the field. Ayuk had 3 catches for like 50 yards. That man is an all-pro receiver. Get the man the ball. Debo, 3 catches, like 30 yards. Get the man the football. McCaffrey had 8 catches. Are we just dumping off? We're calling that's good football? I get it. You got to take what you take, but it's also the game where you got to leave it all on the field. You see Mahomes, he bombed one to McCall Hardman, of all people. McCall Hardman was ranked 111th out of 116 receivers this year. And he trusted him enough to throw him a 52-yard pass, but Brock Purdy can't throw the ball to Ayuk, who's an all-pro, or Debo, or Juszczyk, who came up with a big catch. I mean, that catch was, he's a good football player.
Well, what do you think about that? I mean, the Chiefs had what, like 4 bats, 5 batted downs?
They had, I mean, they were in there.
The Chiefs, their line did their thing. Yeah,
their line is vicious, but that's where I feel like you got this. Debo's fast. He's a speedy receiver. Ayuk's fast. Get the ball out quicker. Run your slants. Run your bench routes. Get them out of your hand fast. Don't let them get a chance to get their hands up. And I think that's where the difference between good and great is. And I think Brock Purdy's good, and it's going to take him a while to get to great. Or if he might not ever get there, but he was good enough to get there. And that's
he's been to the NFC Championship at least twice and to a Super Bowl
since a starter. He's been there,
which is incredible. But one thing I would say that kind of let me down, what Purdy didn't do this game, is what he did last game with his feet. I thought there was a lot of opportunities where he could have ran.
I think the Chiefs were ready for that. I think they had spies, and they were ready for that.
But he needed to find a way to those third downs. They were what, 3 for 12, 3 for 13 on third. I think that's really what they kind of lacked in this game.
I guess with Purdy, I was just impressed that he was able to do what he's always done, which is be a game manager. But on that team, it's good enough to get you here. But like Connor said, to really win it all, you got to be more than that. So I guess I was just more impressed that he was able to keep up the consistency. But yeah, you're right. He didn't take it to that next level where it's like he won the game. He didn't lose the game, but he didn't win the game.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with the Niners. Like, I don't think they lost. I think they were just outdueled, especially at the end. Like, the Chiefs won. They won the game.
I don't get the controversy over the overtime. Like, I didn't think it was bad that they chose to get the ball first. Like,
I didn't either. I thought that was – I kind of thought was how Shanahan was thinking. You want to score the touchdown and then make them answer. And then you get the ball third. Okay. But – I mean, it was smarter for
the only thing is like, all right, maybe you should have went for 7 when you were in the red zone instead of the field goal. Like, but I mean, how can I fault you if you're just trying to get points? Your defense is playing great, but when the problem is when you got Mahomes or Brady on the other side, you gotta go for it all. Like that reminded me. Remember the Packers versus the Bucks a few years back? It was like a 4th down, and they kicked the field goal. They were like, "No, what? We're gonna depend on our defense." That's never going to happen. Like, it's never going to be a defense that's going to stop Brady or Mahomes on the final drives. You're going to have to go win it. You got to go for it on 4th. You got to do the Dan Campbell thing versus those teams for sure.
Hey, Connor, let me ask.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me jump in on that one. I think the biggest thing of that was good about them to not having the ball first, the Chiefs, they already knew what they had to do. San Fran went down, got 3. Hey, we can either tie the game or we can win it. And I think that's where there was even a report that Juszczyk said that they didn't even know the overtime was different. And Andy Reid, every day they talked about it. That's the difference. Like you can talk about Brock and Pat and Kelsey, but the difference is the guy calling the plays and getting his team ready. And I think that's where that's where your Belichick and Reid thing. That's where it kind of comes down to it.
That was a bad look. That the player come out and say that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe all of that, to be honest. I'm kind of skeptical about that. It's very hard for me to think that they weren't aware of that. But were you guys like me at that when overtime was winding down, even though they said it multiple times that there was going to be another quarter because they have the ball currently right now, so they get a chance. When the time was running out, they ran that play, and I still saw 000s with OT, thinking this was still this was going to be the last play of the game, no matter what. And
I thought it was going to a double overtime for sure. And I think they kind of caught them lacking, like they caught them unexpected.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But wait, let me get this straight. So the overtime rules change in the playoffs than in the regular season?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
But
what's
someone's
the
got to win.
difference? In the regular season, if you go down and get a touchdown on your first drive, that's game.
Game. Yeah. Now both teams have to touch the ball at least once.
Thanks to
Okay,
Josh
but in the
Allen.
regular season, if you get the ball first and kick a field goal, then the other team has a
Still
chance.
gets exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
In
Yeah.
the playoffs, touchdown, field goal, the other team got to touch the ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we could thank Josh Allen for this.
Yeah. Thank you, Buffalo.
Fuck outta
Absolutely.
here.
Okay,
outta
crybaby
here.
ass fucking bitches. Anything else? Oh, I want to ask you, Connor, because I know Dixon's opinion on this already. Do you think this is the best chance Mike Shanahan has had in his career to win a championship this year?
Absolutely.
Do you think this is the Shanahan's best team?
100%. From
Me too.
top to bottom, you have a top 3 tight end in the game of football. You have the best running back and offensive player in football. You got a good quarterback. You got good receivers, all pro receivers. The defense is insane. One of the best, maybe ever. One of the top defenses to ever step foot on the football field. And you go out there and you lose in overtime and a heartbreaker. I think, now you got to think next year, they got like 10 guys that are free agents and 10 important guys. So
Yeah.
now
Damn.
what? Now what?
And it's so hard in the NFL to get back. We seen it.
Yo, 1 year you can
Like
lose
the fact that the
1
Legion
year.
of Boom didn't win 3 Super Bowls, like that showed me everything. Like, dude, y'all only got one? Aaron Rodgers only got one? How? But it's not. It's almost impossible.
And they're gonna go for a three-peat. Like that's crazy. That is so crazy. Three-peat in NFL. That's some Madden shit.
Blowing.
Some Madden shit. It really blows because in the beginning of the game, Greenlaw's leg going out, and everybody in the stadium knew it. And he's up there with Roquan. He's up there with his counterpart. He's up there with the best of the best.
Yeah.
And for him to go out, him and Wagner together as a duo is incredible. When you can lose one of those guys, that sucked. That sucked as a viewer, him going out because you knew what he was.
I know it was a freak accident, but he was low key too hype. He was too hype, which is hard to say.
You're in the best game of your
for
life
the Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah,
but yeah, damn, that was crazy. I've never seen nothing like that.
That sucked. What did you guys think of Romo in this game?
I think he toned it down a little bit. I think he humbled himself a little bit for this one. I think he turned our podcast on, heard the feedback, and then was like, you know what? Let me stop being condescending. Let me stop being arrogant. Let me just be a dude. I like the way he called the game.
What about you, Connor?
Yeah, no, I think that when Josh Allen's out there.
Oh, God.
It's unfucking bearable. And to see Mahomes and Josh Allen out there together, it was like a fucking glaze fest. And it gets to the point where you're like, I just want to watch football, man. That's what I kept saying. Like, you just want to watch football. Like, I don't need to know they're running, an HB blast up the fucking A gap. Let me watch it. But I think this game, like Dixon said, man, he really did tone it down. And it was more enjoyable to watch, which was nice to finally get from him.
Yeah. What about the officiating? I thought it was great. Like,
yeah, I was just
mostly there's like one or two controversial. Like, remember last year's Super Bowl? It was holding. We all know, but it was still controversial. I feel like this time there wasn't really any of that.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know of a tin hat foil kind of guy you are about the Chiefs and where they're at. They both got plenty of penalties. They both had their bullshit that they dealt with.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a clean, fair game. It was
evenly called, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Look, this is one thing I'll say. The Chiefs won fair and square. Fair and square. Like, yeah. And every playoff game, they won fair and square. So I can't be mad at that.
Last thing
I could be mad at other things.
Like what?
We don't got to get into that. I told my wife, I told my wife I would never talk bad about Taylor Swift again.
All right. Should just like write it down, put it in an envelope.
It's like Taylor Swift, Michael Jackson, Drake. Like that's the new order, you know?
All right. Last thing I want to bring up, I feel like we have to at least mention this. One of the unsung heroes, Harrison Buckner, with all those clutch field goals, the longest Super Bowl field goal when it was just beaten by the Niners kicker, 57 yards,
Moody.
which is it's kind of crazy the last 10, 15 years how deep these guys kick
The
now.
evolution of kicking.
Yeah, like yo, I remember like 45 used to be so long. And
Anything
now these
over
guys are
50 back in the day was like,
was like,
whoa.
yo, are you human?
The only one that was doing it like that was what's my homie from the Raiders, the lefty kicker.
Janikowski.
He used to go crazy.
Whoa!
He used to
Blasphemous
go
acts.
crazy. But that was really it. But now it's like, yo, if you can't kick over 55, you know, I mean,
Be, being
it's
perfect in
crazy.
the playoffs, Buckner being perfect in the playoffs, and being clutch in this game. Because let's see, we've seen it all year. Those chip shots that should be chip shots in these kind of moments are so different. So his pulling out his clutch gene, and on top of all that, he won me my fantasy football league single handedly this year. But yo, unsung hero. All right, you
Another
guys got
unsung hero. I think, yo, that Chiefs, those two Chiefs corners,
lockdown.
fucking
Hell
lockdown.
yeah.
Fucking sticky, bro. Like I'm talking about all season, but they're not even the types to get like interceptions, but they're just, oh my God. They're
Yo,
just,
Romo used that term, like you said the other, what, last week, 2 weeks ago? He
yeah.
used it. He was
Nah,
using it.
McDuffie and who's the other one? Sneed?
L'Jarius Sneed.
Yep.
Hmm.
My God, yo. Nothing.
They're
Yeah.
locked down.
Like there's no separation at all.
They have lot of big contracts coming up with Chris Jones and him. Do you think they try to bring both of them back?
Have to.
Got to.
Connor, what you think?
Absolutely. Like being a Jets fan and having two lockdown corners and DJ Reed and Sauce, it's like that shit keeps you in that gets you to the Super Bowl. Like those are the
Yeah.
people that bring you to the Super Bowl. And Chris Jones signed that 1 year, like half year, $10 million deal. I think that, he might call it a career. I mean, I don't
Oh shit.
what else do you need? You've done this
And
long enough. You got your rings. You're dominant. Do I think he signed another year or two contract? Probably. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if he was like, you know what, I'm out. Because I mean, what else do you need to prove? But
Yeah.
I think you got
true.
to bring back corners. I think that, having that quarterback hold it a second longer, a guy like Tua who gets it out so fast, you have him hold it for half a second longer, you make mistakes. And I think that's what those two guys do. And that either wins you games or keeps you in games long enough to win them.
Yeah. I think this is crazy, but I think this Chiefs team can only get better. Like all them dudes are so young. You know they're gonna go get like a good free agent on offense. They're gonna work on the offensive end. But to me, overall as a team, this was probably the worst Chiefs team to win the Super Bowl. I mean, they used to have a super team on offense. And now to go to this, like to show that like versatility, it's crazy, man.
I
I
would
think
say though, their defense was always um around the mid 20s. I would say compared to their offense is what like it was at what
Yeah.
average at best.
yeah.
I think Mahomes' QBR was like 19th or some shit.
It was like a
But their
flip of the old Chiefs game. Yeah.
but the defense was what at moments top five, and then in the playoffs, at least a minimum top five team.
Top one in
Like
the playoffs.
defense,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody went up a level.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys got anything else to add on this game? I got just two more questions.
What about my boy Usher?
Thank you. That was one of my questions.
There we
What do
go.
we think? What'd you think?
First of all, chill out with the Alicia Keys. Like, she's married. That's my girl. Like, chill, fam. You getting mad handsy on national television. And she didn't stop. Hey, she was like all good. But besides that, I love that shit. I mean, I feel like that was one of our official like old head moments.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, Little John. Kids is like, who? Who is that? I'm like, yo, Little John, yo, like,
Get crunk. Y'all
come
remember that?
on, snap your fingers, like, come on, yo. Nah, but that was super dope. Like for our generation, that was amazing to see. I thought he killed it.
Yeah, I think Usher killed it. I mean, as a whole show, it was really good. I don't think it was great, but it was really good. To me, it was better than the Rihanna one. I didn't really fuck with the Rihanna one.
Yeah, I didn't fuck with the Rihanna one either.
But no, he did his thing, and there was a lot. I mean, he brought me back. I haven't heard those songs in a hot minute.
They
I
don't
was like, oh
realize how
shit.
many hits he got.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, damn, he's been doing it.
And I like how he brought out so many guests. I feel like that's how it should be. Like you should bring out multiple guests just to, you know, change it up a bit.
Connor, you a fan of Usher?
Listen, man, Usher was all of our childhood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm on the opposite end of what you guys think, man. I wasn't impressed with it.
Wow.
Hey, it wasn't bad because it is Usher. He's a great performer, brought out, but like I think as old heads, the Eminem 50 Cent Dr. Dre one, what was that, like 2 years ago? I mean,
that was
cool.
top three for
what
me.
was there
cool.
anything better? Like
That was incredible.
But listen, man, he's the thing with him is like Chris Brown before Chris Brown was Chris Brown. Hell of a performer, can dance, can roller skate, can, put on his little, diamond little jacket and still do his thing. So I mean, I love Usher. Can't love Ludacris. Him coming out was my favorite.
Luda
with
Still
the
got
fro
the
and
afro.
everything.
Bro. Oh
if he
my
came
God.
out with the big arms, it would have been even better.
Oh man.
But hey, man, it was good to see. I can't knock it. I think above average, good, not great.
I think I see what you mean. I think what was lacking was like the stage design, the stage production. I think they relied too much on, all right, Usher, we know you're gonna kill it. Everything around him, I feel like the Rihanna one was better. Like she was like floating through the stage, had like 100 people running out on the field. I feel like the stage production could have been better.
I agree with that, but you gotta remember it's a TV show. You're just at the TV show. They try to make that shit very, very visually pleasing because 120 million people are watching it.
You know,
just had too many songs though, too many hits. Was going through too many songs
30,
too
40
fast.
songs. Hell yeah!
I was like, bro, give me more than the 12-second snippet, bro. Give me a little something to vibe to. But it was switching so much. But it was good, bro. I can't knock him too much.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So wait, hold on. How long till Taylor Swift does a halftime show? You know it's coming. It's coming.
I'm gonna say
within 3 years, bro. Within 3 years.
I'm gonna say 4 years. I'm gonna say within 4 years.
Okay. Yeah. They might wait until it's like close to like where she's from or something. I don't know. I've noticed like recently they've tried to do that. Like when it was in Miami, they bought out the Latinos. When it was in LA, so they seem to be doing this regional thing. So maybe when it's from Arkansas or whatever she's from.
You pick like the whitest place in America.
Oh man.
All right, last thing. Speaking of your girl, why in the world did we see so much Ice Spice?
Dude, I don't get the
where did she come from?
The friend group don't make sense.
That friend group.
Oh my God. I was watching this shit and I was like, is this serious, man? What are we doing here?
That was the randomest friend group I've ever seen. Ice Spice looked like, bro, these people are killing my vibe right now. Like, they're doing too much.
You seen the devil horns and the upside down cross thing?
Yo!
What's going on, man?
Yo, usually I'm like, the internet is reaching, but Shorty literally said, I'm like, oh, that's crazy.
On live TV, man.
That's crazy.
I think that was all I was thinking about the whole game is like, how did this come about? What was the conversation for Ice Spice and Taylor Swift to go to the Super Bowl?
I'm going to tell you how it went. Ice Spice's marketing agent picked up the phone, called Taylor Swift's marketing agent, said, hey, it'd be a great look for our client to go with you to the game. We'll pay you this much. Just take her, have a good time, and it's just a great look.
What's that number looking like, though? For Taylor Swift to give a shit about who comes with her to the NFL, to the Super Bowl, like, what's that number looking like? What number does Taylor have to say yes to?
I don't know, but
that ain't
Ice Spice's marketing budget is up there for sure.
That ain't a couple mil, bro.
I don't know, but they were seen at like award shows, kind of hanging out. So it was
Oh,
like,
word?
Oh,
yeah, it
they
was
they have a
good.
song together too. Don't forget that.
What?
Yeah, they
They
do.
got a song together. I think
That
they're
shit
like,
flopped like a pancake.
yeah, that shit was whack. That shit was terrible.
It was kind of building up, but it was still like mad random. And then the fact when Jason Kelsey greeted her, I was like, oh, this is awkward.
Hey, those memes were fucking
Oh,
hilarious.
I'm kind of getting
Yo,
tired of him. I'm not gonna lie.
oh, here we go.
I'm like,
Oh,
fam,
man.
you lost. You not in the Super
But
Bowl.
yo, what are you talking about? He's supporting his bro. What the fuck are you
His
talking
brother, man.
about?
Come on now.
You don't think other NFL players do that just because he's popular and famous? That's why you see him, but he stays out of it. I mean, he's his own person. I don't know.
We'll
You
see.
would be there if your bro was there, right?
We'll see. I
You
don't have
wouldn't
a
be in
brother.
overalls
I don't
doing
have a
that type
brother.
of. You know what I mean?
Now
All
we'll
right,
see.
we're
We'll
gonna.
see. Yeah.
Anything else about the Super Bowl for any of you guys? Because we're turning the page.
Turn the
I'm
page, man.
done with
Wait.
50.
One last thing. One
Oh
last thing.
man.
One
Super
last
Bowl
thing.
50.
One last
Look,
thing.
look, look. I'm pumped.
One last thing. One last thing. Just for one last time, real quick.
Go.
So after this Super Bowl, Mahomes, where does he rank?
He's right
Number
behind
three.
Brady.
Number three, bro. Number three all
Really?
Still
time.
putting behind Montana,
Still. One more, it's him.
but Montana didn't have no MVPs though, like
Montana
that.
didn't lose, though. Let's not
Damn, he
forget
did.
that.
He
He didn't
did.
lose.
I'm so fucking mad Brady beat him twice. And I knew when it was happening, like the gravity of those losses. Like I knew, like, oh, the fact that you can't beat him here, you're never gonna surpass him. But I think, man, we'll see. But this guy's different. This guy is something else, bro.
Dixon, do you remember our bet we made about a month ago?
Yeah.
If you don't remember, I'll just remind you. At this time, the Chiefs were on the uprise in the playoffs, but you still didn't love to watch it, right?
Yeah.
And I bet you, if the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, you would have to sing a Taylor Swift verse of my picking.
Yeah.
I will
Listen,
send you the song, and whenever the video is shown, I'll give you the time to let you do your thing. But
nah,
I don't know her music, so but we will be playing that on an episode in the beginning. The first thing you'll hear is that.
got you. Got you. Yeah, I gotta rehearse. I only know a few.
All right. Last chance. Turn the page. Super Bowl 58.
Turn the page, man.
Turn the
So,
page. All right. We are gonna look back at a few things the next couple segments. You pay about 40?
$40 plus tip.
Dude,
Yeah,
remember when
it ain't
20 could
cheap.
take care of everything?
20 was good for everything.
Like, yo, and 20 was like good looks. You feel me?
Yeah. But I remember when 40 was good. Now it's like 55. And I'm like, bro, what
Damn.
are we doing here? I'm up in
That's
That's
a
right.
yeah,
that's a
it's
payment,
different.
bro. That's 110 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you still gotta go to the hood.
The first one we're gonna talk about, and the reason why Connor is here, being a diehard Jets fan and having the Jets oh no, more of the New York Jets circus of last year. So I'm gonna give Connor the floor, but I'm gonna ask him a question very quickly. Before this season, what was your thoughts going into the season with the Roger circus and everything else? What was your mindset prior to this season?
I mean, listen, prior to Rodgers, going to the season with Zach Wilson, it's bleak. Didn't like it, didn't love it. And then, the McAfee train started, right? You could start hearing the rumblings of, he wants to go somewhere else. He goes into hiding, goes into darkness, 90% retired. And I was like, okay, it's just the New York media hyping it up. And then it wasn't. And to hear that man say, I want to play for the New York Jets, it's like, bro, for 1 second, man, like my time stood still, and I was like, holy shit, bro, this is a top. You can make the argument for top five, top seven quarterback ever, he's top 10 legit, Hall of Famer that wants to come play for your team. not for the money, took a massive pay cut to come play with
Yeah.
us. And, we were talking prior, like the hype behind the season. There's no team that's ever been this hyped up prior to a season. It's never, never in the history of anything, it seemed like. We had the McAfee show, we had Hard Knocks,
Mm-hmm.
we had everything. You got the NFL, the sound bites from the Giants game, telling them, you don't know who I am.
The
That was
cigarette handshake.
That was cool,
exactly,
yeah.
all of
The
it, all of
Hard
it.
Knocks. Real quick before you go
Yeah,
further, can you admit that was an Aaron Rodgers jerk off session? Hard Knocks?
100%,
All
100%.
right, good. I could,
Absolutely.
yo, I've watched the Hard Knocks and I get into it most teams, but yo, I could not make it after the second episode. I couldn't.
If you weren't a Jets fan, you weren't watching. And that's just
Okay.
what it was. Just because it really was, even our owner, like during the draft, was when he's getting on the phone, he's like, "Do you know who your quarterback is?" Like, yes, bro. We know who it is. They know who it is. Let it go. Let the man play football. And of course, in classic New York Jets fashion, it all comes crashing down in 4 plays. And
Magic.
bro, sitting there all day getting ready for the game, Monday Night Football, September 11th, had the legacy uniforms on, to see this man run out with the American flag, it wasn't like it was a dream, dude. And for, the first play of our offense was a 26-yard rush from Brees
Mhm.
Hall. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is it. Like,
When's the parade?
I'm ready. I'm getting my tickets for the Super Bowl. I was looking at flights for Las Vegas. And then, the same thing that happened with Greenlaw, right? Achilles rupture. Just put
Damn.
it foot the wrong way, stuck on that turf, and that was it. And that was it. And you could see, the man ruptured his Achilles, stood on it, put his hands on his hips, shook his head no, and sat down. And that was the most human I've seen Aaron Rodgers in his entire career.
Damn.
And it was, it still hurts talking about it, man. Because what could
Nah.
have been? I mean, even for Dolphins fans, you look at the AFC this year, it wasn't really, the Chargers got lost. The Ravens did what the Ravens do. The
Bengals
Bengals
lost.
were out of it. It's like that was our shot. But, it wasn't meant to be.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I love Rodgers, right? Dixon can do a test this. I love Rodgers.
Facts.
But as soon as he said I'm going to New York, Rodgers retired for me.
I hear you.
I
I
could
feel
not. I was like, yo, because I'm a big Dolphins fan, so anything with the Dolphins, those are my guys. Rodgers, I fuck with Rodgers. Like I'll watch him, I'll root for him, but I didn't want to see him go down like that, for
Nah.
real.
I mean, if
Nah,
you're
that
a
was
football
heartbreaking.
fan, man, it was
The whole
Not
sports
like
world felt
that.
that.
In that moment, like not on 9/11, it was the energy in that building where you could feel it through the TV. You really could. And that was like our second episode we ever did, Dixon. And I remember watching that, feeling that emotion through the TV. And then that first, like you said, the Brees Hall. Then they did that play action, and Bills were coming hot. Second play, they came even hotter. And then that third play, he scrambled, and I just couldn't believe it, bro. And I don't really feel bad for too many franchises that like really like shit the bed, and the Dolphins done it time after time. But right there, I was like, damn, Rodgers, that's no one wants to see this.
no, man. It was tough because, they even showed the play like after, and he had somebody in the flat wide open, and he just tried to extend it. And that's not really something that I see Rodgers do too much. Like he takes what you give him, and he's
Yeah,
gonna cut you up, and he didn't take that play. And I think about it here, what if he just threw the ball? Where
Yeah.
would he be? Where would we be at? Would it be having this conversation about the Jets winning the Super Bowl, or do they miss the playoffs and it's even worse, just because they had a rough year? But you know
Now that
what?
I think about it, though, you guys had it bad all year because it
Yeah.
should have ended right there. Like heartbreak, it's over. You're looking forward next season. Then here we go again. All right, he's working with a special doctor. He's using fucking Middle Eastern traditions, medicine. He's on an accelerated, and then your hope starts building up again. And then you see the defense keeping you in the games. You see Zach Wilson with a great game here and there. Your hope starts building up again, and then for it to just again happen where it's like, oh man, we're not gonna make the playoffs. He was ready, but he couldn't come back. That was like, just
Bro, it was, you sit here every week and you hear these updates. He's a little bit closer. He's way
Yeah.
ahead of everybody. This is the first time it's ever happened. And you think about Cam Akers, who had the same injury and came back in 5 months. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting here, right? This is a running back that uses those tendons every play. And I'm like, shit, if he can come back in 5 months. And this wasn't his plant leg. It wasn't like it was, and I'm like, maybe he can do it. And the report came out that he said if they were in contention for the playoffs and they beat a couple teams, he would have just said fuck it. Rodgers, and he would have. He would have
Yeah.
just said fuck it. Let's see what we can do.
Took a perk and been straight.
Pop a perk and get his ass out there. Take some ayahuasca, get in the huddle, and lead these fuckers to a goddamn championship. But you know what? I think it's good for the team. And I always look at the bright side of things. Like this dude who's 41 years old just blew his fucking leg off and is working his ass off every single day, 8 hours a day to get back to the team. Just to, he was in the huddles, he's in the flights, he's on the sidelines, and I think that kind of rubbed a lot of guys the right way. Pause.
Yeah.
And just kind of, he got like that. He got I think he gets a bad rap, man. I think people think he's a
I do
selfish
too.
player
I
and he's
feel the
all
same
about
way.
himself. And I think that this year he showed that he really wasn't.
So you think even him not being on the field, everything that he did was still helpful to the team, like being supportive, being like you said, everything. I never
Absolutely.
looked at it like that.
Yeah, I mean that's as a Jets fan, you got to find the silver lining because there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad that goes on with this franchise and a lot of bad decisions and kind of you got to hold on to something. You got to hold on a little bit of hope and also him being the guy that says when he says something, he's going to come back and do it. He's done it before.
Yeah.
He's that guy that will come out and light you up for 400 yards.
Nah, I still remember that one year when he said relax and then they fucking
And what happened? Run the
that
tape,
was,
man.
Yeah, it
yeah.
was like
And
8 in
that
a
was
row or
it.
some shit. Yeah.
And his ass on some spiritual manifestation. If I say it and I believe it, then the time will come back to me. Like he's one of those dudes that believes it and like actually shows that it's real.
For sure, man. And there's a report after he was full on practicing the last like 2 weeks of the season, and he was running the scout team and absolutely cutting up our first team defense. Even like CJ Mosley, all pro linebacker, was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like there was even somebody said that Sauce had a hand on a ball and actually burned his glove. How hot that ball was coming out.
Jeez.
Rogers got that fucking cannon.
That German medicine.
Exactly. He's on some shit. But all in all, it was a lost season, 4 plays in, but those
So
guys.
so after Rogers went down, post Rogers, right?
Yeah.
Where were like what was your expectations and where did when the season moved along, where were you at? Like what were you thinking? Whoa, what was the season to you pretty much?
Yes, I mean that game kind of ended. It was the most roller coaster of emotions I've ever been a part of. You got the really high of Rogers coming, the lowest low of him going out, and then we run back a kick in overtime. Rookie runs it back for the win, and it's like, okay, well, that was fucking nuts. And then I'm like, all right, I'm sitting down, driving home. I'm like, okay, we got to go get a quarterback. There's somebody out there. Your Brissett's. Listen, Dolphins
You
fans, get
Hey,
me,
don't even talk about
call me
Brissett,
up.
bro. I don't know why they keep throwing his name in there. I'll be
I
honest with
mean,
you.
he's a good. He's not going to win you the Super Bowl,
He
but
might not win your game, bro.
keep you afloat.
But
he is he better than Zach Wilson? Let's be honest now, because we all
I
can say
mean,
yes.
they're probably hovering around the same
Okay,
skill
but you
set.
could have you as a Dolphins, you guys know Tannehill. He was going to be available again. Not going to
Hell
blow.
yeah.
He's not going to give you 15 wins,
Yeah.
but don't forget we had 7 wins this year. It's not like
Yeah.
we were a 2-win team.
hmm
But I think I look at it. That's where they kind of fucked up on, is they didn't have a real second option. They said we want Zach to sit for the year, learn behind Rodgers, and just reset, which is a great plan. But Tim Boyle, Trevor Siemian, like these guys are can play at Sunrise Athletic Complex with us on Wednesdays and might not get picked. You know what I mean? Like they're that bad. And I mean it's and that's
Oh,
that's
God.
where that's where we failed as an organization. And that's where you got to put it on your owner, your GM, be like, you thought that Zach Wilson was the guy?
Crazy.
We've
So
seen him.
what happens with Zach moving forward? Do you think they get rid of him?
I think they got to trade him. I think
They have to. I
it's
think
gone
so.
too far. It's gone way
Yeah.
too far with Zach, and
On
you
both
know,
sides.
and it's funny there. Woody Johnson, our owner in the owners meetings, uh, said we didn't have a backup quarterback last year, and to say that with Zach Wilson still on the team, I
Yeah.
mean, we're throwing that much shade on a guy that's still employed by you. You still got to pay him. Like you're trying to get something for him. So it's like, it really kind of shows where sometimes our organization gets made fun of is because of stupid shit like this. Like, you can't say that and then still have the guy on the roster.
Yeah, they
So,
mismanaged his whole career, to
oh,
be
from
honest.
from play one to the last play of this year.
Yeah.
After this year, do you think you're done with Salah, or are you still on the Salah train?
Listen, man, I think he is a fantastic defensive coach, defensive mind. He's the guy. He's a leader of men, as they call him. The guys want to play for him. And I think that's the reason why he's still here. And I think, the organization punted this year. They said, whatever, we'll bring everybody back. It was let's wash it away. But I think it all starts with your offensive coordinator. Like you've went through three of them already in 3 years. It's two of them 2 years. It's tough. You know, Hackett's here because of Rodgers, and that's obvious. We all know that. And he's not a good offensive play caller. But I think
Mm,
when you have Rodgers,
Mm.
he audibles half of his fucking plays anyway.
true.
He's got hot routes on different guys that he's just like, fuck it, we're gonna figure it out.
But they're not gonna get rid of Hackett.
Not gonna get rid of him. Nope.
Mm.
Nope. You gotta stick with him until Rodgers is gone. And that's
Oh
Yeah.
just
yeah.
that's the nature of the beast with this right now.
So for this regime, is this the do or die season coming up?
Bro, I think so. I think it has to be.
Yeah.
What else can what else what have they done right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Honestly, they haven't. They draft well. That's one thing they do is they draft well the last 2 years.
That's true. They did.
But
They've done really well.
they try to spend money. I think this year you're going to see some names linked to the Jets a lot. I'm already starting to see a couple of the sources are talking about it. A couple big receivers on the market, and I think they have to go get one. And I don't think it's Devontae Adams.
I think I don't like the Jets. Obviously, I'm a Dolphins fan, which is understandable, right?
Absolutely.
But I think their biggest thing is that or I'm sorry, not their biggest thing, but the biggest mistake they made was not going out and trying to grab a serviceable quarterback.
I think it
Because
starts with the quarterback, but I also think it really starts with the guys up front. We had 13 separate offensive line combinations this year.
yeah,
That's not a normal thing.
uh,
That's not, you got guys moving from right guard to tackle, from tackle to center. We had a rookie at center who, by the way, was fantastic. Only had up two quarterback hits this year, only two. And
wow,
98%, 98 block efficiency rating as a pass blocker. So you got some cornerstone pieces, but our top guard went down too, and Elijah Vera Tucker.
yeah,
So
early, yeah,
early, which is crazy against the Broncos on the same field he also tore his Achilles on
no shit,
the year
what?
prior. Yeah, so he already said he's not playing there next year. But
Damn.
yeah, so
That's
I think it
crazy.
starts there. But I think the quarterback, obviously is the most important piece. But you look at these Super Bowl teams, playoff teams. What playoff team had a really bad offensive line? I know the Dolphins had issues, but you look at the top teams, their offensive line is always good.
So low
Yeah,
key, y'all still need to go get a backup for this next coming season.
100%. And I got a list for you of who I want.
Okay.
All right.
Kaepernick?
No,
stop,
no, not Kaepernick. Never, never.
stop, Dixon.
No. I think you got what I want to see. Yeah, I want to see Sam Darnold back in a Jets uniform. I
Okay.
think that
He ain't
Sam
leaving.
Darnold.
Never, hey,
Yeah,
he's
he ain't
never
leaving. I'm
going
telling
back
you.
there. He
Listen,
hates
man, New
y'all.
York sucks.
Hey, I can always hope, but I look at guys if you're really being serious. Is like, you got a Jameis Winston, you guys got like a Marcus Mariota, guys that have played in the league and have won in the
Yeah.
league. Of course, you have guys like Tyrod Taylor, who's been on the Jets already. But an interesting name that I saw today after getting released is Mitchell Trubisky.
I like
Being
that.
being available now,
Yeah.
and Trubisky would, again, a guy that's won a couple games in the league, knows how to play football, and I think you'll see one of those three or four guys on the team next year for sure.
Yeah. I think when you have like as good as team y'all have all around, you gotta like plan for the worst and still be expecting to get to the playoffs. Because other
Absolutely.
teams, they go like that.
Yeah, I mean, look at the look at you guys. You guys lost a fuck ton of guys and still made it to the playoffs. Did what y'all do and lose, but you made it there, and that's more than I could say.
Who do you think is the nucleus of your team, like moving forward?
I think you got the crazy part about this team is you got second, third year guys that are you look at guys like Sauce, Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. They all came from the same draft class. Jermaine Johnson came up pretty big this year too. I think that like that's kind of what you got to work around. You got a couple cornerstone pieces, um, but I mean it's Rodgers until he leaves, and that's how I look at it. Like I think he's got 2 years, and
At
that's it.
least two, yeah.
I think he's got two
Ooh.
solid years. He said it. He said it's a 3 year thing, but you
Unless
know,
he like wins a Super Bowl or something, then he might.
that ego, he's gonna want to run that shit back.
Yeah.
But
That's facts.
I think that's where it
So do
starts.
you
I think
think
it ends
you
with him
think
too.
the team, the other key players are expendable to make the team better?
I think to a point that these guys are locked into their contracts already. So like I said, having a young team that you drafted, 2 years ago, they're still in those rookie contracts. So you don't really have to worry about a couple of those guys. And I think that gives you flexibility to sign offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Um, I think you can get really flexible with your receiving core. I think you look at guys to take, restructure deals. After Alan Lazard stole $44 million from us for 300 yards,
He
you know
did.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's the tough part about Rodgers is he's got guys that want to be with him, but sometimes they just don't fit the system.
That man extended Randall Cobb's career by a good 5 years.
Dude, hey, he had a touchdown this year for us, so I guess that's good.
Shout out, Cobb.
Shout out
So
Randall Cobb, man.
what would you rate, what letter grade would you give this season?
I think it's so tough because of what happened, but I think you just got to give him like in that D range, honestly,
Okay,
D or
yeah.
an F, because to not try to help your football team. This injury didn't happen 10 weeks in, and there was nobody available. This
Right.
happened literally fucking 4 minutes into the game.
Into
You're
the
Mhm.
telling me,
season.
into the season, Gardner Minshew wasn't starting yet. Richardson was still healthy. There was that whole thing going on. Like you could tell me Gardner Minshew wouldn't take a couple, this team into a playoff game, maybe. I think he could with that defense.
Yeah, hey, he did good well with the Colts. Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But you wait so long, you wait so long, you wait so long, and then there's scraps left. You tell me that Trevor Simeons was the guy that you wanted? No, not at all.
What do you think the main going into next season? What do you think the main focus is, other than quarterback? The main focus is for next season coming up.
I mean, it's gonna be repetitive here. It's the offensive line and it's the receivers. You got to get another guy next to Garrett Wilson. I think Garrett Wilson's a clear number one guy, but to not have anybody else close on the roster is the problem. Like you look at, why do you think Jalen Waddle's so successful? Is he a great football player? For sure. But, you know, getting guarded by that number two or number three corner, it's a little bit easier than
A
Tyreek
lot
Hill had.
different. Yeah. A lot different.
That's why guys like, in Minnesota, like it's Justin Jefferson and then it's like everybody else. You know,
Yeah.
I think you got to go get a guy like that. I think you got to beef up the offensive line. And then I think you got to go just get one more backup running back. And I think that's really it. That's all that team truly, truly needs. Um, I don't know
So
if you got
defense, you're good. You're good on the defensive side.
defensive. I think they're pretty good.
Like you're happy with all of that.
I think they let Jordan Whitehead, our starting safety, walk just because is a liability in coverage. I know he had the picks for it, but it was more I mean, don't forget he had three against Josh Allen in the first game and then ended with four. So it's not like he had a
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
But they
Yeah.
do have Chuck Clark. Chuck Clark, that's safety from the Ravens. He tore his Achilles naturally, of course, prior to the season
Naturally.
starting. So I think they re-sign him, get him going. But on the defensive side of the ball, I think that this is a top 2, 3 defense in the league. If not, I mean, it's PFF rated them number one, but I also
Oh,
don't love
wow. Okay.
PFF. I don't love PFF's grading system sometimes. But you got to put them up there for top defenses. Just the 32nd ranked offense is
So
holding back.
going back to your receiver, your mystery receivers,
Yeah.
what did you have in mind?
I think there's a list that you'll start to see guys like Mike Evans, linked there. I think he stays a Buck. I think he retires a Buck. I just don't think that he's the kind of guy that just wants to move away, especially in his career. But also, do you want to try to go find a team that you can go win a championship? Like Mike Evans is an older receiver. He's
Crazy to
old.
say that now. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the best out there. I think you guys got like T. Higgins.
Mm,
How much is he going to
God damn, I
cost?
could see him being a Jet. Fuck.
he's a
How much,
beast.
you got guys like Michael Pittman. I think he gets tagged. I don't think he goes anywhere. I think the most likely, if I had to put a bet on it, is probably Calvin Ridley, just because
Okay.
of his contract situation. Because they'll owe, I forgot, they'll owe Atlanta like a second round pick if they keep him. So it's like, do you want to give up a second rounder for Calvin Ridley?
I
I
think
don't
he's
know.
a stud.
I think he's a stud too, but he kind of faded away at the end of the year. But
Yeah.
I think they also look into that second tier. You got Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd, Gabe Davis, Hollywood Brown is going to be a free agent. You look,
Oh
I don't know if you
shoot.
guys, peeped Twitter and all that, but Ayuk isn't happy. Ayuk's brother talked about him getting out of there.
Word?
Yep.
What?
Yep. So he put up a status that he, you only give an all-pro receiver 3 catches. That's why he's out of there. So it's like, okay, do you call San Fran and say, hey,
Damn.
maybe a second or third rounder does it? I don't know. But I think you'll see Calvin Ridley on the Jets next year. I really feel like that's going to be the one.
Do you see them going in a direction like the Broncos did last year? It's just pay big money to all those offensive linemen that were there. You think that would be the smarter move, or throwing another bag at a receiver?
I think our situation is going to be opposite from them. I think we need to revamp everybody on the line. I think that guys like Langston Tomlinson, who was great with the 49ers, got a pretty big contract in there. He's gonna either have to restructure or get cut. Mekhi Becton,
Dolphins ate him up.
yeah.
Both
I mean,
moves.
everybody did. Everybody did this year.
Oh, okay, shout out.
Yeah. Shout out to him. You look at guys like Mekhi Becton. He can't stay healthy. So he's
Yeah.
going to be out. ABT's coming off that big injury. Joe Tittman, like we talked about, is the center. So I think he's your cornerstone piece. But
Mm.
if they can go get Joe Alt from Notre Dame, the tackle, I think that's where they'll start. And they'll look into guys. I mean, Donovan Smith from the Chiefs, he talked about it yesterday or the other day that he was a Jets fan growing up and he wants to go play with them. Like,
Wow.
which is, I mean, it's like, okay, the guy gives up the most fucking penalties in the league. Do we do we really need
Thanks,
him? I
bro.
don't know. But
Do we need
anybody
more of
really is
those?
an upgrade. But I think that we spend some money on offensive tackles this year and guards. I think that's where you see most of our money going. And I think that just kind of maybe slide that second tier, your Hollywood Browns, Gabe Davis type guys for a receiver.
I mean, shoot, a lot of those second tier receivers were better than what you had this year. I
I
do
mean, yeah.
agree. He's a dog. And if you have a quarterback that can get him the ball, other than those clowns that you guys had, he'll be nasty.
The
And I
fact that
hate
he
to
was
say
still
that.
able to get 1,000 yards was
He
highly
was
impressive.
nasty, bro. He was
Like
even
1,100
for
yards
what
with
he
those
had.
guys. Yeah. And that's the tough part. Like you look at this team, it's like I don't know if anybody really follows Brees Hall that well, but Brees Hall was the fourth highest, yard getter this year. He was second in running backs. It was CMC, I think CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek, and then Brees Hall. And to not be considered for comeback player of the year after tearing his Achilles in week 7,
Mm.
it's an embarrassment by the NFL. And I'm
Mm.
gonna leave it at that.
I
But to
like
have
that one.
1,500 yards off of an ACL injury, I mean, what
Hey,
else could
good point, but you know him better than anybody. Those checkdowns were off the rails. They
you?
checked down so many times, like second and long. They were panicking, and they're like, "Oh shit, what do we do?"
Yep. And that stems from the offensive line. You can't
Yeah,
have a half a second to throw the football.
yeah.
Yeah.
When you get time, you look at guys like Brady and Rodgers and Tua and these guys like have time, they do it. Like they make magic happen. Like I don't love Tua. You guys know that. Dixon definitely knows that. But when you give that man time, like I'm like, fuck, dude, can we please get a hand on him? Because he's with time, man, listen, man. With time, I put Tua up there with pretty much anybody.
Hell yeah!
And I
Coming
don't
from a
love
Jets
saying it.
fan,
I don't love saying it, but it is true. I'm a reasonable Jets fan. I know what it is. I'd take two on this team, and I'm gonna leave that there.
I'll take that as a fucking huge W. Anything else you need to add from this past season or coming up in the future?
Bro, I think that this team this year, it's got a lot to prove. Right now, we don't have the extracurricular activities. We don't have the hard knocks. We don't have the darkness retreat. We don't got the McAfee announcements. And I think that this is what maybe this team needed, was to get humbled real quick,
Mm-hmm.
and then revamp and kind of sit back and say, okay, what's our ultimate goal? Is our ultimate goal to look nice on Hard Knocks with our new uniforms and this and that? Or is it to win football games and get to a championship? And I think that's where maybe Rodgers kind of comes in and says, okay, this is what we're really doing here. And I think that's what we're going to see this year. I think you'll see Sauce take another leap. I don't know if it's possible, but he's going to do it.
I
Back
was
to
gonna say
back,
how he's gonna go
back to
further.
back all pros. And I think he just gets better. This year, he only gave up 26 catches for 251 yards.
That's insane.
Sheesh, fucking
And,
A.
and
I
That's
think the
crazy.
Jets with their cornerbacks and the Packers with the quarterbacks, they know something that the rest of the league don't. Because the fact that you had Darrell Revis and now you got Sauce, you might at the end have the two best of all time.
could be.
Two out of the three. Obviously, Dion's always going to be up there, but highly impressive for sure.
It's gonna be.
I
I think
fuck
it's gonna
with
be a good
Sauce.
year. I think that we're at the point where that Bills window is kind of closing even faster than we thought, and I think the
Oh, yeah.
Dolphins kind of opened up. The Jets has opened up, so we'll see, man. I'm excited. This year's gonna be good. I think we're gonna have a lot
Patriots is ass.
Hey,
ass.
Fucking love to see
speaking
that.
of the Bills, I think that window closed after 13 seconds. That's been my stand for a minute now. And one thing that we can agree on is screw the Bills for real.
For every day of the week, bro. Fuck
I
the
hate
Bills.
the Bills.
Is Diggs a Bill next year or what?
Stephon Diggs out of there.
I
He's
say,
gone, bro.
is he a Bill next year? Where's he at? Maybe a Jet?
I don't know. I
He
have no idea.
maybe,
I mean,
maybe,
this ain't
maybe
Madden,
it
but
should
you
have
know.
happened.
He's
A lot
definitely
of
out.
AFC, and a lot of AFC East guys stay in the division for some odd reason.
I've seen that a lot this year. I don't know what that was about.
On the Jets, oh, helmets. I hate to say it, but they're super dope.
The
I
green
don't know if you
ones?
guys know
I-
that we just now announced that
Super
those
dope.
legacy uniforms, the white ones that we wore on September 11th, are now our official uniforms. I'm super excited about that.
Clean.
And we're gonna get
That's fresh.
a green alternate and a black alternate. So be prepared
That
next
black
upcoming
is gonna
year.
go dumb.
The
It's gonna
black is
go
hard. Hell
stupid.
yeah.
So
I love when teams do that.
that's exciting. It happened. They announced it 2 minutes after the Super Bowl ended. Our owner announced, put out a video that these are now our. So I'm excited about that. Excited about the season, but it all depends on our quarterback, and that's how it's gonna go.
So it started with, I think we started the first sentence about the Jets about the quarterback, and we finished the last
And
sentence
we're
about
gonna
the
end it
quarterback.
with the quarterback.
All right. We all picked a topic that we wanted to go over. Dixon, I'm going to let you go first. What is your review slash topic that you want to discuss?
I mean, I already briefly talked about it, but for me, it was just like my acceptance of Brock Purdy. Like, I'm the dude that was going hard for Trey Lance. I still go hard for Trey Lance.
Yeah,
When was the
oddly.
last time you heard Trey Lance's name in anything? That's how dominant Brock Purdy has been since he came in, got the job. And man, I think he still has room to grow, like Connor was saying, but I'm a fan. Like I like the dude. I like the way he carries himself. Still looks like a dork. Still looks like his mom, made his lunch bag to go to the game, but it kind of benefits him to be like that. You know what I'm saying? That humility, it goes a long way, especially at the quarterback position, because this league will humble you quickly. So that's just for me, like, me turning the page on Brock Purdy. Yeah, I like dude. I think he'll continue to be the starting quarterback there for a while, and I think he'll just be overall just a winner. Similar to what Jimmy G was when he was with San Fran.
You think they sign him long term
Yeah,
after what, 2 years? Okay.
have to.
Connor, what you got?
Listen, man, I'm big on the quarterback, obviously, right? I'm huge on Justin Fields, and I think that
Let's
Whoa. Okay.
go.
I
Okay.
am so in on Justin Fields 2024-25 MVP campaign. I think that he's just dealt a really
Hot
bad
take.
hand, really, really bad hand with offensive coordinators. Um, you know, I think he might get moved this year. If they do go quarterback, I think he gets moved. I think I could see him, I know there was some betting odds. I think I see him in Pittsburgh. Get him with Mike Tomlin, a guy that is a football genius in my opinion. But I think Justin Fields is the real deal. I think he needs the right situation. Think he needs stability. I think you saw the same thing, like going back to Zach Wilson. Like he never had stability. He was thrown into
Never.
the fire and he never got out of it. It's like a quicksand. You just can't get out. And
Since the preseason game. Remember, he got smashed in the pause,
fucked up,
but
smashed,
he got destroyed in the preseason. And I'm like,
fucked
dude,
him
this
up.
is your franchise quarterback.
Running, and that's the thing. Like I think that Justin Fields is so dynamic. I know we talk about Lamar because he wins, but I mean, I don't know. Justin Fields is just. I think he needs to take some time to think and go watch some film and get his reads down. But I think he's a guy that I got a dark horse MVP candidate for sure.
I think I
Wow.
liked about him this past year is like when the trade rumor talked, when all that started ramping up, so did his play. Like as soon as
Yep.
his name started getting brought up in a negative fashion, his play just kept going up. So that shows me like, oh, he's passionate. He's like motivated to prove people wrong.
So
Absolutely. I
Connor,
think yeah.
you would be pro getting Justin Fields
There
on the
was a
Jets?
report. There was a report weeks ago that he might come as a backup, and I was like, dude, that would be insane. I mean, how could you not? I mean, how could you not sit there and be like, okay, is he the best thrower of the football? No, but he can. That's something you can learn. And I mean, look at Jordan Love. Let's not
Mm.
forget that Jordan Love sat behind Rodgers, and
Yeah.
Four years, right?
Rodgers sat behind Favre. Like these guys, this
Was
is
it
what they do. You get
Even Mahomes sat a year behind Alex Smith.
Steve, Montana and Steve Young, same
Yeah.
thing. And all of a sudden, they turn out to be some of the best quarterbacks ever. So I think he could sit for a year, and learn. But I would, dude, sign me up for Justin Fields Jets
Yeah.
campaign. Put him on it.
Okay.
I like that.
I like that. Yeah. My last topic, well, the last topic of this would be the curious case of Philadelphia
Mm.
going
Mm.
from 10-1 to getting bounced in the playoffs
Who did
kind
that?
of comedically.
Who did that one end up to? Who did they lose to?
No.
The New York Jets.
Oh.
Another green team.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
You
Go
had that
ahead.
in yeah, good shit. That was that game that you kind of took over
Yep.
that quarterback.
Yep. Go ahead.
Um, just them getting, just them how their season unraveled, how they would, try to sign. You always have it's always a red flag when you have a team signing older players and those older players are starting the next week. It's always a bad sign. And I mean, they were 10-1 at one point. Like they had their shit going on, but however it just unraveled and it was a mess. Them giving the DC job, they took it away from their protege and then gave it to Patricia, which was fucking random. And then Sirianni just getting killed week after week. And then going in, not even when the season was over, they cleaned house. They Sirianni's trying to keep his job. He signs Kellen Moore, which he's probably familiar with how Eagles run their operation from him being in Dallas for so long, and then them stealing Fangio from the Dolphins. It's very like they're panicking, and I think everybody knows it.
But those are
And,
two really good moves right there.
okay, Kellen Moore, what was the highest? What was the best he had? Dak.
I know when he was there, they were like leading the league in offense.
Yeah, but Dak had his best season this past year without Kellen Moore. Herbert got hurt, so we can't really say shit on that. But Herbert did not look great either. He kind of almost looked like a letdown. And it was still, as long as Herbert's been in the league, I know I was saying, and I know you were saying, as soon as he gets the right coach, he's going to be better. Because
He's
he didn't
out of
look
here.
no dare different.
He's out of here once he gets a good coach.
He's going to blow up. And that whole Tua Herbert debate, I want to see Herbert good because he is amazing. And then the Fangio shit, I mean, a lot of players complained about him last year. And he was out of football for a year. And we talk about it. You miss a little bit of time, you can get disconnected.
I don't like that Fangio shit with the players. Like, dude, our defense did everything they were supposed to do this year, and they were all crippled. So they could have been whatever going on off the field. When they got on the field, that defense did everything that it was supposed to do, if not more. If anything, the offense let us down. So I hear that, but I think performance-wise, I still like the dude. And I
Wait,
think,
I mean, he cost us a few games, and he said it himself.
but
That was on me.
when it was time to seal the division, it was the offense. When it was time to win a playoff game, it was the offense. So I
I don't
think
know.
you saying all that, I think the Eagles, I think they'll be better next year. I mean,
They should
better than
be.
the second half of this year.
Yeah, I mean, from 10-1 to winning, I think they won 12 or 11 games. That's a fall. Like we dropped as a team. The Dolphins dropped, but those
No,
motherfuckers
they fell off.
fell.
They fell off
They fell off a cliff.
harder than Lil Pump.
But yeah, that's all I got for my topic. Connor, do you want to stick around for our Fins review?
Let me stick around. Let me hear all about it. I got my own opinions on the Fins. I got a couple things I even want to ask you guys. So whenever I'm
Hell
gonna
yeah.
want to ask a question, man, you let me know and I'm gonna chime in.
Oh no, I mean you bounce in whenever you want, bro. I mean it's free flowing, my boy.
Yeah, I interrupt them all the time.
Perfect.
Dixon, Fins review 23-24. As a letter grade, I'm gonna give it a B plus. Okay. And it took me a lot to go down from A minus to B plus. Okay. As a whole season, because we had the highest of the highs, best offense the league's ever seen type shit.
Yeah.
To collapsing how we did, if it was with injuries, if it was with just boneheaded ass plays, and not to mention getting beat by every playoff team but the Dallas Cowboys, which obviously is a major, major, major red flag. Even the Jets were taking care of playoff teams. No offense, Connor.
Not taken.
Mm.
And then losing the division on the last game of the year when we had that shit in the bag was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
Embarrassing. But we were 8-3 at one point and we were dominating the league. Yes, our schedule wasn't that hard, but it's very hard for me to fault a team's schedule when that shit's a year out. And they already made this shit. We're not picking these teams to play. And you could say vice versa if a team has a very hard schedule. In the beginning of the year, for winning percentage for prior year, we had the top 5 hardest schedule. You're given the hands you were given. But we folded under those playoff teams. And that's the biggest knock on this team to me. Biggest knock on this team. The Ravens, Cowboys, we just slid by. All that other shit we got beat the fuck. That we had plenty of opportunities, like in the Philly game, the Chiefs game, plenty of opportunities that we just fumbled the moment. Tua had three to four game-winning possessions that he fucked up. If it was a fumble or one of them was a pick, it was a fun season though, because the highs were so high. Our team scored 70 points in a game and could have scored another one, if maybe two. Maybe. That shit was ridiculous. Defense, I love the defense. I love the core players. I didn't want to see Fangio leave, to be honest. But if all that other turmoil shit is really going on, then you got to move on because it's toxic. And that also drives players away because we're in an era where players want to collaborate rather than be told what to do. And it's just what it is. You're in the league for 30 years. You've done it a certain way. You can't really fault Fangio for being an older guy and running his own system. It is what it is. But they were yin and yang, him and McDaniel. It really was. Tua. I think Tua had a very, very, very good season. He did not have a great season. He had a very, very good season. Way above expectations. There was over 60 quarterbacks that started this year. Tua started every game. His biggest concern was the year prior when he got his concussions. For him to play a whole season, You got to give him credit, and you got to give McDaniel scheming, knowing his weaknesses, get the ball out fast, and have your playmakers make a play. But oh yeah, I can get it on I can throw it through a keyhole. Reek had a historic season. 1799 with 12 touchdowns. First player ever to have two 1,700 yards consecutive in a row. First player ever. Tyreek and McCaffrey were the best offensive weapons in the league. Go ahead. I just kept going. I didn't even let you jump in. Go
No,
ahead
you're
and
good.
cook for a little bit.
You're good. You're good. I think it's conflicting. I think like I'm looking at it in two ways. As a lifelong Dolphins fan, it was fucking fabulous because we've never seen this. So if you're looking at it from that lens, remembering Jay Fieldler, remembering Chad Henne, remembering all of them, it was great. It was phenomenal. It was an A plus. It was the greatest season I've ever been a part of as a Dolphins fan. I wasn't there for Marino. So look at it from that point. I get that, but taking that off and looking at it like year by year, I remember, what did we say? If Tua stays healthy, we have a chance to win. To go to the Super Bowl. That was every Dolphins mentality because we seen the potential. We saw all the signings. We saw the creative play call, and we saw all that. Where's the excuse? There's no more excuse. You have Tyreek. You have Waddle. You have Mostert, who should have been in the consideration. Like Connor said, someone else, he should have been consideration for comeback player of the year. The dude's 30 plus and was dominating the league at a running back position.
22 touchdowns.
Supposedly you hit 30 and you're done in the NFL. Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, how many times have we seen it? But this guy flourished, at his age. I think it was a disappointment of a year. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think we showed promise last year. This wasn't like, oh, we're going to be better in the future. This was supposed to be now. Like last year was supposed to be, we'll be better this year. We can't keep saying that. We can't keep saying that. I feel like, that was one of the best shots that we're going to have. And the fact that Tua stayed healthy, the fact that, all the ninjutsu training turned off, like he was able to stay out of the way. He didn't even take no big hits all year and he still couldn't get it done. I find it really hard to stay optimistic because I'm like, it's hard to guarantee such a clean season. You see Joe Burrow, you see, Herbert, you see what happens in the NFL. So, I got to give it like a C plus. Like we passed, but man, and the fact that we lost to every single playoff team, that's disgusting. Like not even one. And we beat the Cowboys, which is just the Dolphins of the NFC.
That's facts.
So, man, it was tough. It was tough. With the Tyreek thing, I think he should have got a little bit. I don't know if he should have won, but I think he should have got more love on the Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, he was close to breaking records type of thing. And I don't know why he kind of, the media just failed to acknowledge him in those conversations, but he definitely should have been there. I love the defense. Like you said, I thought the team played great with all the injuries that we had. But yeah, I think overall it was a disappointment for sure.
Wow. Okay. I do, going back to what you said, the team was better this year than it was the prior, even when Tua was playing. So they did get better, but I think a lot of what needs to be worked on is, this is McDaniel's second year. This past year was a second year play calling, right? I think that's a very underrated trait of a lot of like young coaches, especially because they don't have the experience. You just kind of got to learn on the go. So
Yeah.
I think he made a lot of mistakes. I think, especially in those big moments, like he choked in a lot of moments, and then our players kind of followed suited at that same time. Like a lot of those real defensive coordinators, they weren't playing with that. Tyreek getting 70-yard touchdown. You might get 1, 2 deep balls, but that was it. And we only had so many in the chamber for that, where we could actually take the shot. But C plus, wow, that's lower than I thought you were going to give them.
One thing that was glaring for me that was like a red flag was Tua with Tyreek was one thing, and then when he went off that field, he was another thing.
Yeah, they relied on him too
So
many times. Yeah.
when you showed me that, I'm like, oh, the most important player on our team is a receiver.
Yeah.
That's a red flag.
Yeah, I think going back to what you said, like that, the award talk for Reek is that those last couple games we lost, and in those games he had a lot of big drops. I think I saw someone on Twitter, they did the calculations if he were to catch those because like remember in the Ravens game, it was an over the middle slant, like 20, 25 yards, and he caught it and then it bounced off his knee.
No, he was dropping touchdowns.
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is if he were to have caught all those balls that he dropped, he would have broke the record. So I think
Didn't he get
that
in? Wasn't he out for a game too?
he was out for a game or two, and then that's where I think that narrative kind of fluttered away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For offensive player of the year. Connor, what you got? I hear you brewing over there.
Listen, man, I gotta ask, man. We've been in similar spots, so we've had bad teams for a lot of years in a row. For you guys as fans to, like Dixon talked about, this was probably his best season to watch. Do you look at these seasons and be like, damn, that was great. I'm glad it happened, but it kind of sucked? Or would you rather be like, hey man, we suck and that's it? To kind of be, is it a bigger letdown? Seeing this team,
I would rather be here than any
right?
of
Yeah.
those other years,
Just
dude.
knowing that there's promise in some sort of they're building something and
Just
you
that
can
we're
see
a
the
relevant
progress.
team. Just the fact that
Yeah.
we're on ESPN. The Dolphins used to not even get mentioned, like ever.
But now don't you
Hey,
guys face something bigger with this extension that's coming up, right? I've been seeing the reports. I keep tabs on you guys too, is like, they're motivated to get this deal done, $55 million. Like, okay, but then what?
that's what worries me is if they give him 55 a year. I saw a report of 40, but if they give him 55, I'm going to be worried. I'm
So
going to
what
be
is
Yeah,
that?
honest.
Like record breaking numbers or what?
It's just every year
it's just
the
expensive,
quarterback
bro.
markets goes up and up and up.
But like if he
So
gets 55, that's like
I think
Lamar
that's
money.
upper. I think that's upper echelon. It's nothing crazy, but I think that there's
it's
so
top
much
five. Yeah.
from watching, and hearing and looking at, Twitter and a couple of these guys that I even follow, the injuries that piled up for you guys, like, you guys got to spend now. You look at guys like Jalen
Mhm.
Phillips, who is a fucking beast, dude. I
Yes,
fucking
sir.
love you. I hate him, but I love him. To have that same injury that Rodgers had. I mean, that's the year of the Achilles, it seems. That late in the season, he just started walking like this past week or two.
Yep.
What do you like? How long do you wait for him to come back? Xavier and Howard, I know he's gonna be there, not be there.
Possibly
Ramsey,
not.
it's like there's a lot of, and then who else is it? Christian Wilkins need to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I
So
think
like,
they're
where?
doing, and it started last year. I think the plan started last year that their window was the next 2 to 3 years. So we're gonna give Ramsey the bread. We're gonna give Armstead the bread. We're gonna give Reek the bread. We're gonna give. I bet you they do pay Wilkins. We're gonna give all the guys the money that they want, while we have, like the Jets have, good young talent. Wilkins, Phillips, even Van Ginkel for what he did this year, being a minimum guy.
Absolutely.
He was looking for a team last year.
He balled his
They
ass off.
have the youth, they have the draft cap, the draft um, you know, their draft picks have blossomed into good players. Holland, Brandon Jones, and then you mix that with good, expensive vets. I think their plan is two is cheap now. We have to go all in. If
Isn't
they
Wait,
have
their
so
to
I
cap
pay,
don't
number messed up right now, though? Aren't they pretty much like way over the cap right now? I know they can.
yeah,
NFL cap seems to be
dude,
fake because you can
they're
restructure.
30th in
Are those guys going to take the restructure, get paid a little bit less to stick around? Like, where does that leave you guys? I
so
know a
it
lot of those guys
seems
are
that
good.
Ross would, because Ross did this over this past year. He's going to give you all the bread now, your salary cap is a buck 50.
Hmm.
So I'm going to give you that 20. That's what they did with Reek. That's what they're going to do with all the players. Because not to mention my man's getting up there. He's up. He's old. Like we know Jerry Jones is old, but Ross ain't that far behind him. You feel me? That's why I think you see him dumping all his bread into the organization, where in prior years It was just fun to have a team in Miami type shit. You know what I mean? So I think they planned as an organization, this is our window and this is the shot right now.
So what
So
does it look
Tua's
like in
current
5 years,
contract.
though?
What is Tua's current contract? He has one more
So,
year.
so he's going into his 5th-year option this year.
Mhm.
Normally, like what Herbert did, what Burrow did, after the 4th year, you sign the contract, a long term.
So we don't
So
have to. We don't have to sign him here.
no. So what we did is gave him the fifth year option, which was 22 million. Think about what Herbert's making. Think about what Hurts is making. Think about what all those boys are making now, right? All their contracts start now, right? They're making big money now. Tua's going to make 22 this year, and then the contract that he's going to sign is for next year.
So he could
That's
sign a
when,
contract right now, but it'll start a year from
yeah.
now.
I mean, unless like some crazy, like they void it and then have it start now. Like there's so many things that they can play with the contract, you know. But historically, what they're doing right now, that's the 5th-year option, and then shit, they could even franchise tag him next year, but then that's looking 40 plus for 1 year.
I mean, from all the reports, from the whole vibe around the organization, everyone seems to love the guy. So
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, they're gonna give him the bread. I think they love who he is off the field, and honestly, I'm all for it. Like, who the fuck else are we gonna get? You know what I'm
Yo,
saying? I think
he's the best we've had in over 20
it's the
years.
best we've had. Let's just see how far he goes. Let's just be appreciative, and yeah, let's just see. I'm
Like
all for it.
he's not a perfect quarterback. We know that. But he has skill sets that are elite. But he also has, skill sets that aren't.
Yeah.
That you would like them to be, but they're not. And you kind of, McDaniels has made him better. He
No,
has.
for sure. No, for sure.
Even in
Absolutely.
Hard Knocks, like he's showing you, I remember in one part, one of the guys was like, why doesn't Tua step in? He goes, no, if he has a wider stance, he doesn't need to step in. He can get the ball out faster. Little shit like that. I mean, Tua's stance is wide. He's a thick ass guy.
Pause.
And you just got to go with it. Now, like I was telling Connor, the window's now. After this window, I don't know what it's going to look like, but the window's now.
And I think we're in the same position there, right? So we have a very small window. We have a smaller window than you guys got.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, for us, in 3 years, what does my team look like? For you guys, what in 3 years does your team look like? Are these guys still there? Is Tua, a Falcon? What's going on? And that's where I think that these contracts kind of come in. And I think the salary cap is so fake sometimes. They can just manipulate it to
Hell yeah.
the Dolphins are over 50 million, and tomorrow they could be under 25 million with two moves and
Jerry Jones been loopholing that shit for forever.
forever, bro. So that's where it's hard because like you want to spend money now. You want to, you're seeing the Bills window like we talked about close or closed already. But how long is that window open? And how much do you want to put into it? And say, are you just saying fuck the next 4, 5, 6 years? It's a tough but that's why they're there and we're here, man. They know what the fuck to do, I guess. But I don't
Yeah.
get it, man. It's scary.
It is scary, but looking like what the Rams did, F them picks, they got the ring. Like you are cemented in NFL
You get one
football
ring, it's all worth it.
heaven. It's got to be. You get one ring, it's worth it.
That's it. It's all worth it. Yeah.
You're with that season
Absolutely.
is with the football gods. You feel me? And no one could take nothing away from you. That's just
Yeah.
what it is.
Cemented in history. Yeah.
Do you have anything for this season, Dixon? Before I go into next,
Nah.
next season, 2024, 2025, we're going in with a new DC, assistant head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, Weaver. I don't know much about him, but I know I've read that he's a big player guy. He played himself, and coming from Baltimore, I love that. Their defense, that team, that grit, shit, I'll
That
take that any
culture.
day. I'll take that any day. Him being young, McDaniel being young, I think it's a better mold than Fangio. I think McDaniel's play calling has to get better, and I have all the faith in that it will. I really do. I think we have a different backfield next year. I hope Mostert does resign, but if he's trying to get real money, it won't be with us because they weren't even willing to give Dalvin Cook about $4 million, and we saw what happened with Dalvin. one thing about Tua, I think it was really good in Pro Bowl, him being at the Pro Bowl, because I think that did more off the field for us than on the field. I think that players meeting Tua there is gonna bring a likeness to come to Miami. I had the same feeling when Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade were on the Bulls, and look what happened with that. I had the same feeling. Main thing is we need to sign Wilkins. Have to sign Wilkins. He is a cornerstone in the defense. He has the potential to be one of the best Dolphins of all time. I truly believe that. It might not show all these sacks. He's got a bunch of TFLs. Can be one of the best Dolphins defensive player of all time. I really believe
Like a
that.
culture guy.
He's a culture guy. He's a glue guy. He's
Yeah.
the guy you want in the locker room, and the guy that is gonna be right behind you when the trenches get tough. I really
Yeah.
really believe that. And then yeah, like we said, you got to sign Tua. I think they also need to address O line majorly because we might lose Connor Williams, one of the best safeties in the league. He got hurt, so who knows when he's coming back. But address the O line, better backs because A Chain is not an every down back. We have to remember that. We can't abuse him like a lot of backs are abused. We have to use
See
him
what happened to
smartly.
Tony Pollard.
We have to use him smartly. Do not give him the ball every time. So hopefully Mostert and a running back wet dream for me would be Derrick Henry. Will that happen? Probably not, but I would love that.
Hmm.
And then the defense needs to address linebacking, some edge guys because Chubb is going to be out. I don't think when Chubb comes back, he will be what he is. I'm leaning more and more every day that's Chubb from the Dolphins long term is not going to be what we saw this past year. And we need to help on more on the defensive back ends. I don't think X is going to be there next year. He took another slide. I love X. He did so many good things for us with mainly Brian Flores.
All time
10,
great. All time great
10
Dolphin.
picks, all-time great Dolphin, but I don't think he'll be playing for much more. If he does, it'll be definitely a reduced role. I
Yeah.
believe that. But I mean, shit. Super Bowl just finished. It's February. I'm already bought into next year. It's just what it is. Uh, and I can't wait.
Nah, I hear that. I got a similar stance. Yeah, I think we'll definitely be a playoff team. I think you'll see Waddle have a better year and Tyreek. I think you'll see Tyreek go back a little bit and Waddle go up. To me, Waddle was injured all year. You could tell in the body language he was in and out of the games, in and out of the lineups. So I expect him to have a better year. I expect Tua to keep doing his thing, and yeah, I think we'll be right back in the playoffs. I think it's all down to McDaniel's like growth as a play caller, because he did panic in certain scenarios. I think the thing that got him there, like getting the ball out so quickly in the end, kind of bit us in the ass. So just being able to be flexible, get off the game plan, and let Tua do a little bit more instead of just trying to help him out as much as possible. Yeah, but I think we'll be back in the playoffs, and yeah, I like our chances.
Okay. Connor, you got anything else, my man?
I think that when things go wrong, everybody kind of looks to the quarterback and points the finger there. You know, we've talked in our group chat about Tua, and as a Jets fan, I don't support him obviously, but he's a top five quarterback this year. I think that
Wow.
listen,
Let me get my
the,
phone out. Let me
I'm so
record that.
happy this is recorded.
Let me record that real quick.
No, I'm so happy this is recorded.
Dixon knows, man. In our group chat, I really don't have too much Tua slander. Does he make mistakes and key points? Yeah, but who doesn't? I think it's just amplified because it's him. Just like it's just the Jets. Like it's just
Yeah,
amplified that way.
I
It's a
hate
media
that shit,
thing.
I'll be honest. When people
No,
say
I
it's
I
just the
hear you.
Jets, I hate that.
It is what it is. But you guys have you guys got a guy, and I think that if people just kind of this game's so fragile. I mean, I saw it this year. Like that Tua might be gone forever. He's gonna be gone forever at one point, and I think that Dixon always talks about is like you gotta appreciate what he's doing right now. I mean, the guy he led the league in like fucking all quarterback stats pretty much.
yeah.
Like I mean, the guy is a baller.
Mm.
And they got to build a couple more pieces like from watching the games and I get on Twitter when they lose and he makes a mistake like the interception in the Bills game. My goodness, dude, like these fans. I mean, I think our fans are terrible, but gee, I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
you
he'll flip
see
real
it
quick.
all. But I mean, I think that you stick by your guy, you pay him, and hopefully he takes, a little bit less than 55, and then just build up that offensive line and then fill in those key pieces, pay Wilkins, and I don't see why you guys wouldn't be in the playoffs again and, maybe a couple games further.
Going off of just Hard Knocks and his interviews, watching. I mean, I watch a majority of the post games, especially after the losses. He seems like a guy that would take a hometown discount. Now, would it be 10, 15 million? That I mean, that would be anything you would hope for.
I don't
But I
know. Tua, since he got braids, been acting different.
but he seems like the guy that would take a little bit of a pay cut,
He got
just
a
because
tattoo sleeve, braids. Only thing he's missing is the
the
Gold
fronts.
fronts.
yeah.
It.
Nah, I'm messing with you. Yeah, I agree. He does seem like that type of dude.
Like he's team first kind of guy. Like just
100%.
the roller coaster that he's gone with this organization, and they backed him numerous times. They got rid of a coach for him.
Yeah.
They revamped everything for him,
Yeah.
and it worked out.
Yeah, I think he's appreciative. I think he's loyal. And him and the coach seem to have a best buddy relationship. And nowadays, that's what you need.
That's key, bro. Hey, Stafford or I'm sorry, Goff got traded because McVay wasn't on board with him.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like the organization's gonna pick one, quarterback or coach.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it is, and everything seems to be going parallel together, which I fucking love because we seem turmoil our whole lives.
For sure. Nah, I
Any
think I think as Dolphins and Jets fans, I think we got a lot to look for next year. I think the darkest days for now are behind us. So this is good. We should all be happy about this.
Hell yeah, Connor. Any other Dolphin questions?
That's it, man. You know, truly, who would you guys replace him with, right? And that's
That's
what
what
I
I'm
always ask
saying.
my Dolphins friends. Like, you guys are complaining about this and that, but like, who is it? Like, who else would you want?
Because
You know,
everyone who's great is already secured. It's not like
already
they're just available.
exactly my point. So I think, that's all the questions. Listen, I follow football. I'm a Jets fan first, but I am a student of the game. I love the game of football. And like you said, for both of us, man, it's always darkest before the dawn, man. We saw a lot of injuries this year. Both of our offensive lines were depleted. Key guys from quarterbacks to corners to safeties. And big injuries, not sprained ankles and stuff like that. These are serious, could be career-threatening injuries at one point. You look at Jalen Ramsey before he even really got in a real NFL game, was out. So
Yeah.
I think that hopefully these teams take a deeper dive into seeing what's going on. MetLife will have grass because they're hosting the World Cup final, so they will have to put grass down. So that is a big thing for me, seeing how bad turf is. But I think, we do have a lot to look forward to in the next 2 to 4 years. It's going to be special for both of us, and hopefully we see you guys in the playoffs and really have some fun.
That'd be crazy.
Hey, that's one of my just favorite games of the year, Dolphins versus Jets. I
Always
mean,
a
I fucking love it. And I'll tell you what, bro, I love beating the Jets. I swear to God, I love it.
I
And
know
when we lose
we
to the
haven't
Jets,
won.
it sucks. It sucks.
Hmm.
No, and also it's one of the best jersey combinations to me.
Yeah.
That was actually my first game I ever went to was Dolphins Jets. It's like 6 years old.
Yo, real quick about the turf versus the grass thing. So, if it's medically proven that turf causes more injuries, why does the NFL continue to use it? Is it just to save a couple of dollars on the field?
It's the state. It's the owner. It's not the NFL. It's the owner's opinion. Like
Okay, but
the
why though? What is them saying? Okay,
money,
we're gonna
bro.
pick this over this. It's a money decision, right?
Yeah,
I
I
could
mean,
I
like
could
Less
speak for the
maintenance.
on the Jets. That's what it is. So even our owner came out because there's so much for at least for MetLife. There's so much that happens on that field, like outside of Jets football games. Don't
Like
forget they have
stadiums and all that shit. I mean,
no, they have the Jets.
concerts.
Yeah, they had the Jets and the Giants first off. Don't get we got 2 games, 2 teams playing on those fields.
Mm,
And there's concerts. They got the Stadium Series for hockey. I don't know if any hockey fans out there, but Stadium Series coming in where they kind of put the rink down. Like that's a damage to the grass, and that's gonna, that's it is, bro. Everything's always money. Turf, you just throw it down, little upkeep, and you're fine. But
Yeah.
I think that it's gonna come down to the point where there was so many Achilles injuries that they're gonna have to
yeah.
look. I mean, that's just how it is. They got to switch it up.
Yeah, because in the end, you're gonna save money, but you're gonna take a terrible like PR hit. You're gonna look
Absolutely.
bad. And I think they care. I mean, maybe not more than money, but that's extremely important for a team, like
Yeah.
their public perception.
I don't know if you guys watched the Hard Knocks with the Dolphins the in season, but they showed the way they do the field, and they have facilities out in the Everglades underground for fields of grass for the stadium. And I mean, I'm sure it's on YouTube, but it's probably one of the most amazing things I've ever seen on Hard Knocks. The way they interchange the field. I mean, these boards are massive, and it's just fresh grass. It's
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. Really haven't. But you guys got anything else you want to add to the Super Bowl, the this past season, the Finns, the Jets, Ice Spice? Anything else you guys want to add?
I mean, I'm happy to be on with y'all boys and talk football. I think that
Hell yeah, this was a great time, bro.
yeah, I think
For
we're
sure.
witnessing we could be witnessing some of the best players ever played the game of football right now. Like you got Travis Kelce, you could put him
Mm,
up there a couple more years maybe. You got Pat Mahomes. You got guys that are, got Tyreek Hill, of course, CMC. When was the last time you seen guys like these play,
yeah.
and put in that resume year in and year out and there's no drop off, right? So I think that we're blessed to watch this game of football in the last couple of years. And like I keep saying, and I'm excited to see how this season comes for everybody. See where Derrick Henry goes, see where these guys play football next year, and hopefully we're there towards the end of the year together.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And
Hell yeah.
they just continue to crush it, like in terms of ratings. Like, dude, I'm sorry, but they kicked the NBA's ass like
Oh, it's
bad.
not even the same
Oh
league,
yeah.
bro.
Like, dude, it used to be like, and even in 2016, like NBA was like getting a little bit of a step forward with the international, with the social media. But man, them boys over there at the NFL, they put in extra work on that script because that shit has been phenomenal.
Yo, it's not even like I don't even think on a normal Sunday the NBA Finals puts up those numbers.
Crazy,
It's
crazy.
crazy. I mean, this is a whole other conversation. I think the NBA kind of messed up with all their marketing stuff, but I think that's a whole different.
With the player empowerment, yeah, it kind of
Yeah,
bit them
I
in the
just think
ass.
they made the highlights and stuff too accessible. So and I mean, I love it. You can watch a whole game in 20 minutes on YouTube, right? Or on whatever platform. So it's like, why am I gonna watch a 2.5 hour game if I can watch it in 20 minutes?
Yo, now that you say that, because I'm a big YouTube guy, the NFL used to always do like player highlights. Like they even had a playlist on their YouTube
Mhm.
account. I
Yeah.
noticed that's gone down quite a bit this year. So maybe they're even using that as a strategy. Like, look, we want to do less short form
Less is
content
more, bro.
to
Yeah.
force people to actually tune in the games, which is where we're gonna make, our money and have our relevance.
I don't know if you remember, but there was a time in YouTube history that NBA had all their shit on YouTube and NFL had nothing.
Nothing.
So I think when the NFL did it, they kind of like felt it out, see what the MLB, see what the NBA, and we're gonna do it this way because we've seen this fail, this succeed, whatever, and they're crushing it. NFL is crushing it. NFL Films is one of the best makers of content ever.
Facts.
I fully
Absolutely.
believe that
Facts.
in so many avenues, so many avenues.
Even you know what's one thing? The MLB, they never do highlights. Like I don't understand why there's not a Derek Jeter highlight reel. It just doesn't exist. So it just goes
Shit,
to
there
show
might
you
be. I don't
like
know.
they really, it's deeper than what you think it is. Like everything is strategic with these billion-dollar corporations. And yeah, it's starting to make sense a little bit.
Big time, big time. All right, well, I appreciate y'all. I had a great time tonight.
Yo, great time.
One more time, I'm just gonna tell the audience, like, subscribe, follow our socials, comment. You might get something back. But hey, y'all boys have a great night, and we'll see y'all next week.
All
You
right,
too.
fellas.
All right, yo. Ay, puta.
¿Qué?